And hello, one and all, and welcome to my live review and breakdown for WWE Clash of Champions 2016. We're going to take a look at all of the results and, like I said, give you the full breakdown on what took place on the first brand-specific pay-per-view for the Raw brand. Overall, going into this show, my hype was considerably lower than it was for Backlash because I felt, unlike Backlash, the Raw brand had overall done a poor job in building up to the various title matches on Clash of Champions. And, when I looked at this match card, there were a number of matches that I thought had the potential to succeed if given the right amount of time. And, we're able to tell the logical stories that need to be told in the ring with the proper finishes. What I thought we got tonight was an average, solid show that at the end of the day left me feeling there's just one word to describe it: meh. That's exactly how I felt at the end of watching this show. There were some good matches that, of course, we will talk about, but there were really some questionable finishes on the show. And I want to say thank you to all who are tuning in live to watch this review. Like I said, the live chat is up, so I will be responding to your questions accordingly. So you can leave your questions in the comments section, and I'll get back to those. But yeah, guys, I was really hoping that this pay-per-view would be between B and an A, and I have to say right out up front, I would give this pay-per-view a C, a solid C. Now, that's not to say that this wasn't a good show. It was just, to me, thumbs in the middle, and I don't really feel like it presented that necessary hook that I really wanted it to do in order to make me want to tune into Monday Night Raw tomorrow night. I just don't really feel the need for me to continue to watch the Raw brand if we're just going to continue to get these episodes of Raw that really feel like they're going nowhere. And so I'm debating whether or not I should even tune into Raw tomorrow night, because there really was very little on this show that made me want to tune in tomorrow night. And that should be the whole goal of the pay-per-view, is I want to see where this goes next and that goes next, and especially the ending. I mean, you want to end with a bang, just a knockout blow. And I felt like this pay-per-view really went with a whimper. And so thank you all for tuning into this live review. I want to appreciate that once again, guys. And without further ado, let's get into the results of the show. There were a total of 8 matches on this card. I missed the pre-show match. It was between Nia Jax and Alicia Fox. No surprise here, Nia Jax was able to pick up the win with the Samoa drop. So it's nice to see that they're continuing booking Nia as a strong, dominant threat for the Raw Women's division. That has been one of the highlights that I have enjoyed. Despite being squash match after squash match, hopefully they finally progress with Nia and enter her into a long-term feud, maybe with a returning Paige. We'll have to see what happens. Or Emma. Emma's rumored to be coming back as well. So, like I said, Nia Jax successfully defeated Alicia Fox. Really came as a surprise to nobody on this show. So let's get into the main card of Clash of the Champions. And we kick things off tonight with the Tag Team Championship match. It was the New Day defending their titles against the Club. And there were a couple things before I get into this match. I thought it was an okay match that hurt my interest for this match. One was the booking of the Club. And I know you guys out there, the booking of the Club have just been really bad. And the build for this match, I mean, let's take our time machine and go back in time. Before this feud kickstarted, when I heard the New Day versus the Club, I was down for that. I was completely looking forward to this feud. And when it started, the Raw on July 25th in Pittsburgh, I was a fan of what they did with that. The Club beat down the New Day. They were presented as a legitimate, serious threat. However, the problem with this booking happened when they gave Big E ring postitis. Okay, I thought maybe that would just be a one-off comedy spot. However, it continued with the doctor skits and the old day segments and the retirement home specialist. And when this feud, the problem is, if you guys remember, the New Day came off the feud with the Wyatt family. And I actually enjoyed the more serious side of the New Day that we were getting in that feud. And I would have liked to have seen that serious side of the New Day coincide and transition into this feud with the Club. And I think if we got a more serious side of the New Day versus the badass, take no prisoners, hold, no punches version of Anderson and Gallows. And no involvement from Jon Stewart at SummerSlam, and that's the first thing that hurt this match and going into this match. The second thing, and I know you guys remember this, on Raw, what did they do? They gave away pretty much the exact same match on free TV. What was it, 15 minutes it went? So that already, hurt my interest in this match. So, yeah, guys. And like I said, I see your comments about the crowd. And, the crowd, it was okay tonight. But I certainly don't blame them for kind of, resting on their laurels. Because at times, I was kind of yawning and trying not to fall asleep myself. So, but yeah, back to this match. What I did like about this match, I have to say early on, was the way that Anderson and Gallows just pretty much took out the New Day piece by piece. First Gallows hit a running clothesline to Big E. Then Anderson hit a running knee axe handle to Kofi, to the back of Kofi. Then they followed that up with a big boot onto Xavier Woods. So I liked this. I was like, holy shit. Because I said to my friend as I was sitting there talking to him, what if they just have the club go out there and completely devastate and destroy and annihilate the New Day and defeat them in a matter of seconds? Would that help seriously rebound the credibility of the club, which I feel like they really need to do? They didn't do that, and I was disappointed. Okay, they're going to have a match then. Well, the match would be competitive, and it was back and forth, and it was going on and on. I'm like, okay, here we go. And I was worried, like, well, what if the New Day beats the club? Then what are you going to do next with the club? Because, they beat them twice. I don't see them getting another title shot. And that's exactly what we had happen here. The New Day rebounded, and eventually the New Day was able to hit the midnight hour to pick up the victory. And to me, it seems like they're going to have New Day beat Demolition's record, which I believe was, correct me if I'm wrong, was it 487 days? That was Demolition's tag team championship reign record. So the New Day are closing in on almost over 400 days now. So it seems like that'll be the likely direction for them, because if they haven't dropped it to the club at SummerSlam and they didn't drop it now at Clash, I don't see them dropping it until they break the 487-day record of Demolition. So, but what worries me is what is next for the club. And I made a joke to my friend, well, if they're not going to have anything for the club, why don't you send them down to NXT? You know what? Put the club on NXT. They could use the team down there. I know they'd be booked properly. I'd love to see the club tear it up with teams like, the Revival or the Authors of Pain or TM61 or, hell, that would be really awesome to see. Because I'm really worried, just the way that they've been booked on the main roster. And I just felt like this was the time to put the titles on Gallows and Anderson. Despite how poorly booked they've been, at least you put the titles on them. It freshens up the tag team championship scene. And I do like New Day. I don't want to seem like I don't like New Day, but I feel like they're getting a little bit stale. And, they've been champions for over 400 days. So obviously, they're continuing with them as champions. So like I said, the match was okay. I would have preferred to have seen the next match kick off the show, the Cruiserweight match. So let's move on to that. This Cruiserweight match between TJ Perkins and Brian Kendrick, I thought it was okay. But guys, let me know down there in the live chat, were you disappointed with this match? Because I really thought if these guys were given the right amount of time and allowed to go out there and have these similar type of matches that they were having on the CWC and, I felt like this match was toned down. I didn't want to believe the rumors out there on the internet. I try not to. But I just felt like they toned this match down. And it wasn't the type of pace I was expecting for the Cruiserweight Championship match, especially between guys like, especially TJ Perkins. I did like his 8-bit theme. I have to give him a shout out for that. I'm a huge Nintendo fan. As you can see, I got the amiibos behind me. So I like that. Nice graphic and whatnot. So anything that makes me think of the Nintendo Entertainment System, I dig that. So yeah, I just thought the match between Perkins and Kendrick was okay. There were some nice spots in there. The crowd seemed really, really flat throughout this match. Watered down, yes, that's a good way to describe it. But yeah, I don't know. The crowd didn't really seem too much into it as I thought they were going to be, maybe due to the toned down style. And that's what I'm worried about for the Cruiserweights heading forward on Raw, which is why I kind of wish now, looking back, okay, if this is how they're going to book them on Raw, maybe it would have been better to put them on SmackDown, the show with Mauro Ranallo, Daniel Bryan, who would have had excellent commentary and been on the show that is truly about opportunity versus the 3-hour flagship that is truly about just spinning in place. It's like the car and the wheels just stuck and we're going nowhere. So yeah, the match itself was okay. Like I said, this was my pick to be match of the night potentially. So it obviously didn't live up to those expectations. Perkins, of course, was able to retain his WWE Cruiserweight Championship. Really no surprise there. He got the win via submission. And afterwards, I did like how, him and Kendrick shook hands. And then afterwards, Kendrick was able headbutted Perkins in the head. So, that way setting up a potentially, maybe more matches between Perkins and Kendrick down the line. So, Sunday Night Raw. Yeah, I agree, Robbie. So, yeah, TJ Perkins, still your champion. And, yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about this. Like I said, I was just disappointed. I was really expecting more from these two. Like I said, it probably wasn't their fault. They were probably told to tone it down because, that's what Vince McMahon wants. So let's get on to our third match of the evening. Let's talk about what I thought. Between this and the women's match, I honestly thought this was match of the night. Despite the finish, I really enjoyed this final match. Well, it was supposed to be the final match between Cesaro and Sheamus in their best-of-7 series. Match started off slow, but it slowly picked up over time. I really love the story that they told about Sheamus consistently, targeting Cesaro's injured lower back. I like that. I like when wrestlers use what I feel we don't see enough psychology, targeting an injured body part. It only makes sense. If you're really fighting somebody, if you're really going in there and kicking his ass, what are you going to do? You're going to target his injured body part. And we need to see more of that, on these shows. So I have to give credit to Cesaro and Sheamus. I really enjoy that. Also, I like the fact that Cesaro was able to hit, there was a 619 attempt. I didn't know if that was exactly what it was going for, but of course, Michael Cole and his dreadful commentary, shout out to him because, of course, it was bad. He said it was a 619. There was one really, really dangerous spot where Cesaro, he jumped over the top rope and it looked like, he didn't get enough traction and he almost landed on his neck and his head. It was really scary. I was worried Cesaro might have hurt his shoulder. It definitely didn't look good, and it was just like, oh, man, I hope Cesaro is okay. I hope he didn't get hurt again. Just that landing looked really bad. Of course, the match continued after that. Cesaro and Sheamus. Eventually, Cesaro hit a clothesline that sent him and Sheamus over the barricade. And then eventually the ringside doctors came to attend on both Sheamus and Cesaro. I didn't know if it was a botch, if Cesaro knocked Sheamus out and Cesaro hurt his shoulder. I heard, the referee eventually called the match off. And Cesaro, I heard him clearly say, I've wrestled before with one arm. And, I don't know if this was the intended finish. I don't know. It seemed like it to me, but there was also a bit of doubt. So this best-of-7 series didn't conclude. So that is the one hook, I guess, for Raw tomorrow. What is next for Sheamus and Cesaro? They both, are struggling. And the crowd, I have to give them credit. They did want to see these two guys fight. So I like the fact that they were able to get the crowd involved, invest, and they wanted to see these two go at it. So we'll have to see where they go with this best-of-7 series. But like I said, I thought this was probably the best match that Sheamus and Cesaro had against one another, next to their SummerSlam match, which I thought was really good. So tremendous work from both Sheamus and Cesaro. And this was really what I thought was the high point of the pay-per-view. These three matches that I'm naming right here, Sheamus and Cesaro. And I thought Sami Zayn and Chris Jericho was a good match on the show. I really did. Despite the ending, with Jericho picking up the win via the code. I thought Jericho and Zayn, they've wrestled before. We've seen them wrestle on TV, and I just thought this was a good, solid match between, the veteran Jericho and, the up-and-comer Zayn. Despite lose, I really wanted to see Sami Zayn get the win here, so I was pulling for him to get the win. There were a couple nice near falls in this match when Zayn hit the Blue Thunder Bomb. Yeah, speaking of, I really wish he would get wins with that move. It would be really nice to establish, he could get wins with, without having to always do the haluva kick, which I do like as a finisher. But, of course, towards the end of the match, like I said, Jericho, he had the walls locked in. Sami was, of course, able to get to the ropes. He hit that really nice corner tornado DDT. And then Jericho attempted to go for the code breaker. Zayn countered with the exploder suplex. Eventually, Jericho got Zayn trapped back into the walls of Jericho for the second time, and Zayn attempted a small package. Jericho went up. Jericho attempted to go for the flying double axe handle. That's where Zayn hit the Blue Thunder Bomb for that very, very close 2 count. Like I said, I wish he won it right there. And then, of course, Zayn was dropped with the dastardly code breaker from the leader, the Ayatollah of rock and roll, baby, Chris Jericho. So, despite losing to Jericho, I think Zayn, he isn't hurt here by a loss. Of course, he is the underdog. So, yeah, we'll have to see where this goes. I'd like to see Jericho and Zayn go at it again. Like I said, good match here, and I know they could have more good matches down the line. So, like I said, a little disappointed that Sami lost, but like I said, still a good match here between 2 of the best on the Raw roster. So that was that match. And then we had what I'd have to say this was definitely by far the second best match of the night. It was a women's championship. 3 out of the 4 horsewomen. We had the boss, Sasha Banks, challenging Bayley and the women's champion, Charlotte Flair. Really good stuff from all 3 women involved. They gave them at least 15 minutes. So kudos to WWE on that for giving these women enough time. Once again, I was a fan in this match of Charlotte targeting, the back area of Sasha Banks. That's smart. Why? Because it's SummerSlam. That's what Charlotte used to her advantage to defeat Sasha Banks. And, I really like the fact that, they didn't have too much interaction between Bayley and Sasha Banks, because you all know how I am an advocate of, and a lot of you are, for we need to keep that, involvement at the minimum, because that is the money match at WrestleMania 33. But I did like the stare down, little tease between Sasha Banks and Bayley. Of course, there were times that Dana Brooke was able to get involved in this match where she was able to, hold Bayley's foot or pull Sasha out of the ring, and that gave, obviously, the advantage to the champion Charlotte. So, towards the end of the match, the thing I really liked the action. Like I said, great action from these women. Great wrestling, great maneuvers, great counters, what have you. The thing that kind of just was meh was this, like I said tonight, were these finishes. The finish to this match. Here's how it went down. Sasha went crashing into the outside, and Charlotte hit 2 big boots on Bayley to get the win. And when the finish happened, I was like, oh, okay. That's it. I don't know. I just felt like the match could have went a little bit longer. I don't know how you guys felt about that finish, but I just felt like it was, that's the way I could describe it. And, I wasn't surprised to see Bayley take the pin, but it was just the way it happened, and kind of was just, I don't know. I felt like the match could have went a little bit more longer and built to a nice crescendo. Then you go into your finishing sequence. So, but like I said, despite criticizing that, like I said, really good stuff from all 3 women. And hopefully, we see Sasha versus Charlotte. Like I said, my scenario, main event at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. We'll have to see what direction they go for, but it would be the right time, seeing as how that pay-per-view is in Boston, Massachusetts, and home of the boss, Sasha Banks. So let's move on here, folks. We are on to our 6th match on the main card, 7th overall. It is Rusev versus Roman Reigns for the WWE United States Championship. And before we talk about the 2 participants, I have to say tonight, Lana, you were looking as fine as ever. So Lana, gorgeous. She is, of course, the perfect 10. That's what she is. That's the only way to describe her. So I had to take what Ty Dillinger said and apply it to the ravishing Russian. So the match itself between Rusev and Roman Reigns. It was okay. I didn't really have my attention too much paid to it. I was kind of on my phone and whatnot. So like I said, I thought their match on Raw, while it was stupid to have that match on Raw, I don't know. I thought that match between them was better. I thought the match, tonight, would have been better. Like I said, I thought it was okay. Not saying it was a bad match, but I definitely thought it picked up as the match built to the end. I really liked the part where Rusev was able to lock in Roman Reigns for the accolade. And, it was making me think, well, maybe they'll do the scenario like with Cena where Reigns would pass out. But instead, Reigns was able to get out of the accolade, and then eventually Reigns was able to Rusev poked Reigns in the eye, and then Rusev sent Reigns into the corner, and then I believe this was the third spear. It was either the second or third spear. Before this, Lana interfered, and then the referee ejected her. So there was no way that Lana was going to prevent this from happening. Rusev hits the spear to pick up the victory. I am okay with Roman Reigns being the United States champion. I think this is what they should have done. Take the time. We're going to go in the time machine, go back in time. Let's go back to WrestleMania 31. I felt they should have built Roman Reigns up as the guy instead of John Cena to beat Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. You change things around if only we could, and I felt like that would have put him in a much better place holding that United States Championship. Now, I'm still okay, like I said, with Reigns being United States Champion. I think he can do good things for the title, and you guys get your wish. He's not Universal Champion, and the only concern, as I said on Twitter tonight, do not drop the ball with Rusev. Rusev is still a very talented individual. He's Lana, the gorgeous Lana as his manager. I still think Rusev can be built up as a credible challenger for the WWE Universal Championship. And the reason I say this is because I see it in Rusev. I see the fire, the intensity, the passion, the good wrestling, solid work. I think he's a good heel. And if he was given the opportunity to grab Vince McMahon's imaginary brass ring, I think Rusev could eventually make it to the upper main event mix. But I'm worried. I don't want to see him drop back down the totem pole and lose after he regained the United States Championship. So we'll have to see where they go with that if I decide to watch Raw tomorrow night. So, like I said, I thought the match was okay. I know some of you liked it. I just thought it was okay. And then we go into our final match, folks. This is the main event of this pay-per-view, Clash of Champions. It was Kevin Owens defending his newly won Universal Championship against Seth freaking Rollins. This match, from the outset, I have to say the crowd, to me, it sounded like they really, really weren't into this match at times. Like it sounded like they were dead throughout a majority of it. I don't know if it's just because they weren't interested in what was going on in the ring, or they really didn't know, if they wanted to cheer more so for Owens or Rollins. I mean, Rollins did get his cheers, and Owens did as well. Like I said, I thought the match was just okay, and I really knew that these guys. I know that these guys can go out there and have a much better match. So, like I said, I was a little bit disappointed with this match because I was really hyped up for it, and I just didn't think it exceeded or even kind of met my expectations. I just thought it was okay. It was good. So, yeah. Like I said, the crowd reaction definitely hurt it as well because, like I said, the one nice spot, I have to say, was when Owens got Rollins up, clear the announcer's table off, and he gave Rollins the DX, suck it sign. And then Owens went for the flying senton, and then Rollins was able to roll out of the way, and Owens went crashing through the announcer's table. That was nice. And then eventually Chris Jericho would come down to the ring and interfere on behalf of his best friend. So he kept saying, "That's my best friend in there." And that was kind of funny. And eventually the referee would get knocked down after Rollins attempted to, what was it? He got the pedigree almost and on Owens, and then that led to Stephanie McMahon. She brought out another referee, and eventually Rollins turned around, walked right into the pop-up powerbomb, and the match it ended. And I was like, oh, okay, that's it. And then Jericho and Owens, they celebrate on the stage. So yeah, like I said, it was an okay match, but I thought it would be much better. Just like I thought the show would be much better. Like I said, I thought it was just an average show tonight. C, I'd give it a C. Yeah, that's great. I'm giving it. So sorry if I don't sound too enthused. It's just this Raw brand. It's just been it's been tough to watch, and I'm really debating. What do you guys think? Should I watch Raw tomorrow? Because I really didn't feel like this show. Let me know down in the comments section below. Should I waste my time watching 3 hours of Monday Night Raw? Because I'm not feeling it. I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe it'll be a good show tomorrow, but just with the way Raw is going, and I keep saying this, in my opinion, Raw hasn't had an A show since July 25th. Let me say that one more time. In my opinion, Raw hasn't had an A show since July 25th. I'm sorry, that's no excuse. Is it too much to ask? Apparently it is. So a little rant here. I mean, I just want Raw to be good because I know it can be good. Because they proved to me on that night, I was in attendance, that they can put on a good 3-hour episode of Raw that has a logical progression and, I agree, Robbie. I'm really, really considering it. Like I said, I'm just tired of wasting my time. But guys, there is another idea that I'm floating around. I'm thinking about bringing a new feature on my channel in place of my Raw reviews. What do you guys think? We take the time machine and go back to the year I'm currently in, 1999, and do retro Raw reviews. I enjoy watching these episodes of Raw because for me, this is the first time I've ever watched Raws from 98, 99, 2000, and I'm currently making my way through. I want to get all the way through every single episode of Raw up until 2008 when I started watching. So I'm going to throw that out to you guys. If I don't watch Raw, I'm going to start bringing you retro Raw reviews. I think it would be something fun, just to look back and reminisce on, the time when wrestling was just, man, wasn't 99 such a great year? I mean, you had Austin, Rock, Triple H, Mankind, Kane. I hate to reminisce here, but it was just like, and not everything was great. No, it wasn't. But there were so many guys on that roster that was over, and Raw just was must-see TV. You had the best commentators, and Jerry the King Lawler, and Jim Ross, and the evil bastardly heel and Vince McMahon, and the corporate ministry, Shane, Tess, Road Dogg, Badass Billy Gunn, Chyna, all of them. Man, yeah, and I'm getting close to when SmackDown debuted. I'm right around that time. So, like I said, guys, going off on a minor tangent here, but I'll let you know if I decide to do retro Raw reviews. So, real quick, before I go off the air here, I'll take a look at my Twitter poll. Thank you to all of you who voted in that poll. Let's see what the results say for Clash of Champions. 9 of you voted. 56% gave it thumbs in the middle, 33% thumbs up, and 11% thumbs down. So thank you to all who voted in that poll. Like I said, I think everybody's in pretty good agreement here. It was just simply a meh show, at least for me. So, guys, that is it. I want to say thank you to all who were commenting in the live chat, who tuned in to this live review. Like I said, guys, tomorrow, well, it's today, I will be bringing you episode 3 of the Giza Wrestling Report. We're going to be back breaking down all the latest news throughout last week in professional wrestling, all the top stories, and I will have on special guest BSP. He will be back joining me. He joined me for my Raw review this past Monday. So Botch Squad podcast coming back on. Hopefully we'll have a good conversation. And the Giza Wrestling Report will be airing live here on Google Hangout. If you can join us, it'll be at 11 a.m. So we'll have a lot of good talk, and possibly I will be doing a live Raw review tomorrow. Still debating that. So, guys, that is it. Thank you all for tuning into this live review for Clash of Champions. Leave your comments down below, like I said in the comments section, and I will respond to those accordingly. And, of course, thank you all once again for watching. Remember to please click that like and subscribe button for more video content coming soon to this channel. And, of course, I will see you guys later on today. Till then, guys, thank you for watching, and good night.